Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Arun. I'm Solutions Architect, MCT, working with Novintech, which is one of the best organization to work with. And today we are going to describe sensitive data classification. What are we going to describe? We are going to describe sensitive data classification. So data classification we are going to do for our sensitive data. Let's put it this way. How? With the help of Microsoft Purview. This is what we are going to learn in this video. So let's dive into it. So in order to understand this topic, there is a problem statement which says organization have huge amount of data which is spread across email, SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, and on-premises systems. This is usually unorganized data. That's the reason we need Microsoft Purview. If you remember, it was doing the three things which I have seen in our previous video: data governance, data security, risk, and compliance. Right? So it will help us to organize the data. Once we know our data, we need to find out what it is and how sensitive it is. Right? Without knowing what type of data we have, like customer records, credit cards, contracts, we don't know the risk, compliance violation, data leaks, reputational damage. So before we protect anything, we should know what it is. That's the logic behind it. So this is the problem. So what is the solution? Solution is provided by the Microsoft Purview with the help of built-in tool to tackle this challenge. What are the built-in tool? Data classification and explorer. These are the two tools which will help us classify our data so that we can protect it as per the requirement. So this is the problem statement. This is the solution. So let's explore the solution further. So what is the purpose? Before we go to the next slide, let's make it clear. What is the purpose it is solving? Well, what type of data do I have and how sensitive is it? That is the purpose of data classification. So we are going to focus on identifying and monitoring the sensitive information. Identifying and monitoring the sensitive information. What kind of sensitive data? Like credit card, passports, contracts, resumes, those kind of things. Right. So let's dig into data classification first. So what is data classification? Well, data classification is the process of finding, tagging, and labeling the sensitive or important information in your environment on your data. So it helps the organization in answering these questions like what type of data do we have? Is it sensitive or non-sensitive, and how should I protect it? So Preview uses multiple methods or types for this classification. So what are these types? Let's dig into it. We have two types like sensitive information types and the trainable classifiers. This further divided into pattern based and custom SIT. Same goes here, pre-trained classifier and custom trainable classifiers. So let's see what are these. Before we go into it, we understood the classification, right? What is classification? It is the process of finding, tagging, and labeling sensitive or important information in your environment. You are classifying the data. All right. Now, how we are classifying? With the help of classifiers, these are types of data classification. One of them is SIT, which is sensitive information types. So how it works? If it is a pattern based classifier, so there is a proper pattern like uses like regex, pattern matching, keyword dictionaries, or checksums to detect specific data formats. Like we know credit card format for like there are phone number like this 444. This is the credit card format. So it knows the format already. These are pattern based classifier. It knows the pattern. It knows the passport number. So pattern of the passport number, national ID number like Aadhaar or SSN in US, it knows that pattern. So it will identify that data with the help of that pattern. But these are the built-in ones you can simply utilize as per the provided by Microsoft Purview. But do you think it caters everything in the world as per your data? No, it does not. So if you have to create a custom SIT, you can create the custom SIT as per your information. Maybe the kind of employee IDs you have. Maybe you write EMP at the front of your before the numbers of the employee ID. Maybe you type like we are from Novintech, so maybe NQV, something like that. Maybe you are from HCL, so HCL then numbers, or EMP then numbers. So You can custom the SITs as well to figure out what kind of data you have. That is also possible. Then we also have a trainable classifiers. As the name says, these are trainable. Uh, we do have pre-trained classifiers and custom trainable classifiers. So these things will help us classify the data as per the information, as per the pre-trained module that they have. Module of what? AI and ML. That's what they use. So it uses machine learning models to identify data based on its content, context, not just pattern. So here we were using pattern, right? The kind of pattern we have of the data and applying the label accordingly, finding the type of data accordingly. Here we don't have pattern, but we have content and we have context. Content and context. Content and context, not just pattern. So these are pre-trained classifiers. It is like if someone upload a file like John Doe resume with education, work history, and skills, so it will classify it as a resume. So these are AI models already built by Microsoft to recognize common document types. For example, if someone writes "I'll harm you" in an email, classifier mark it as a threat. If a team's chat include abusive words, classifier detects it as abusive harassment or profanity automatically. All right, so these are pre-trained, but you can also have your custom trainable classifiers. What are custom trainables? These are AI models trained by your organization for your own business document. So what you're gonna do for that? You need to have a sample of document. So you'll give the lot of documents to your model, like upload 100 documents that are the type you want to detect as loan contracts. Those are the positive examples. Then you upload the negative examples, like again 100 documents that are not loan contracts, like newsletter or invoice or anything. Then you start training. The model learns what makes a loan contract unique, structure, keywords, formatting, those type of things. And then you deploy the model. You deploy it to scan the document like SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, Exchange. So anytime someone uploads a loan contract, it automatically detect and labeled it as a legal or confidential legal. All right, so those are custom trainable classifiers. Now I have given a high level information. What is SITs and trainable classifier? Now let's go ahead and see in detail all these things. Explorers, data classifiers, and everything in a table format so that we can easily understand. And before that, of course, we need to understand a little bit of tools in Purview to manage data classification, content explorer and activity explorer. What are these? If we go to the slide number 1, here there are two types of tool: data classification that we talked about, SITs and AI based custom and pre-trained. Explorers will help us manage the data classification. That's a second built-in tool. So first we have understood. Now this is the second one. Tools in Purview to manage the classified data. How we are managing it? With the help of Content Explorer and Activity Explorer. This is number one. This is number two. Both are Explorer, which will help us to explore whether the classified data is working as it's supposed to be. For example, it shows where sensitive and labeled data is stored, which is already labeled sensitive with sensitivity. For example, admin sees 5,000 documents labeled as confidential spread across OneDrive and SharePoint. So Content Explorer will help you explore your labeled data as sensitive. And Activity Explorer will let you know the activity on this data which is sensitive. So it shows what people are doing with sensitive data. Who is doing what people are doing. So doing is the activity, right? So this is Activity Explorer. So it's like alerts if 10 users download confidential finance files to personal devices, which it not supposed to be, or changing the tag from confidential to public maybe, right? So these are the tools which will help us to manage the classification of data. And where the classification of data is happening? In the data classification step in the previous slide that we talked about, all right? This here the classification happening, here we are managing it. Now this is a table format of understanding all different type of tool provided by the Purview, how these works, and the example to understand, and the real world use case as well. So let's go one by one, it will refresh our memory. Sensed information type, what was it? If you remember, it was data classification, right? So how it works, it sees the pattern based detection. We gave the example of credit card numbers, passport, and all. So here is the example which will help you understand. A retail company prevents credit card numbers from being emailed outside the organization by auto labeling. How it is happening? It is automatically auto labeling them as confidential financial data. How it is auto labeling? Because this thing, if you remember, just need to show you again. This thing, pattern based, this is automatic. Pre-trained, this is again automatic. This is automatic. This is automatic once you have trained your classifier. Okay, so this is pre-trained. This is automatic. You have put the conditions. So this is automatic. Automatically it see the pattern and apply the tag. Now we have exact data match classifier as well, where it matches the against a secure reference list. For example, customer IDs, patient MRN. Now it will not see the pattern. You see, it will not see the pattern, but the exact number. Exact number. How this example will help us understand. Let's suppose there is a hospital uploads MRN to Purview. If those numbers appear in Excel or Word outside the EMR, Purview flags and restrict the file. Now it is not checking the pattern but the exact number. So it will go against the secure reference list, where the list is like a database of the exact values. So EDM is the exact data match. Now, pre-trained classifiers, these are AI ML models built by Microsoft for common data content and context. So like resume, source code, profanity, we gave example when we were talking about it. Now this example, this use case will help you understand further. An HR system auto detects resumes uploaded to SharePoint applies internal HR only label. Teams chat with harassment language are flagged for HR review. That's how it is automatically labeling your data as per the sensitivity of the data, which you have already defined. Now, custom trainable classifier. Let's take an example of this. Organization train its own model with positive, negative examples or samples. We have already talked about it. Now, let's see. Loan contract was the example we talked about. Now, this will help us understand. A law firm trains a classifier for NDAs, non-disclosure agreement. Whenever NDA are uploaded to SharePoint, they are auto-tagged confidential, legal, and external sharing is blocked because we have trained our model as a custom trainable classifier as per our industry data, and once it is seen, it will tag it. Now, there is one more thing, sensitivity labels, which is again connected to the classification, but it is not type like these things, SITs or AI/ML based pre-trained classifiers, but this is labels applied automatically. These are the labels which are getting applied through these processes. What are these labels? After classification to enforce policies. What are the labels? Public, internal, confidential, highly confidential. Here this is label confidential financial data. These are the sensitivity labels. Now, these two tools will help us in managing data classification. Content Explorer, it is a dashboard to see where classified label data is stored. And activity, how classified data is being used. Explorer will show you. Now, these example like it shows 5,000 confidential docs across OneDrive, Exchange, and SharePoint, which means sensitive data. Label data is stored. Confidential data is stored here, 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 and here. It shows if labels were changed, files copied or shared externally. Right. So this Activity Explorer will help you. Now, this example use case, compliance officer reviews all sensitive docs stored in a SharePoint to ensure proper labeling. So all Content Explorer will help us understand this. Security admin spots a user changing confidential finance to public. Here the change is happening, activity is happening. So Activity Explorer will help you this or alert. All right. So with this, I hope these things are clear. Now let's go ahead and see the data map, because this is a confusion I see. A data, like we talked about it in a previous video. That's the reason data classification of the data that we already know about, known data, right? But data map is knowing where the data is. So primary purpose of data map is inventory and catalog, shows where the data lives. And purpose of data classification is applying the sensitivity and label what the data is and how sensitive it is. So that is a difference. Now the focus question here is, where is all my data stored? Where? But here the question is, what the data is and how sensitive it is. How should it be handled? The scope is all data source, structured, semi-structured, unstructured, everything. Here the known connected data source only, because here we are going to find out where the data is. Here whatever data is known, we are going to apply the data classification. The capabilities: scans and catalog data sources, build searchable catalog, track lineage, all those things that we talked about in previous video. Here we just talked about right now. SITs, EDM trainable classifiers, that's what they do. So SQL DB with customer account, SharePoint with loan docs, S3 with raw logs, it finds the data where. Inside those resources, detect. So now the data is found. Where is found? Now the data is known. Once the data is known, it will go ahead and apply the classifier or sensitivity labels. All right. So this is the difference between data map and data classification. We can go further. Output. Here is searchable list of data assets, their metadata, here labeled and protected sensitivity. It is absolutely clear now. All right, let's go ahead to the previous, not the previous, but this slide, where we will find out some benefit. Benefit of what? Benefit of doing data classification. So it will help us doing what? Compliance and regulatory alignment. It will help us aligning our compliance and regulatory guidelines. How? And first understand what it means. It means helping organization meet laws like GDPR, HIPAA, PCI automatically identifying and protecting sensitive data. Because if data is sensitive, it must be a way to protect it as per the compliances, right? And how this help us, because we first get to know what kind of data it is, how sensitive it is, and then we'll apply the way it's supposed to be protected. For example, a bank classifies and labels credit card numbers, PCI DSS. Anytime a credit card appears in email or SharePoint, it's automatically tagged as confidential, financial, and encrypted. So that's how it helps us. In a second way, data protection and risk reduction. So it prevents accidental or malicious leaks of sensitive data by applying labels that trigger policies, encryption, DLP, and watermarking. So what it is doing, it is helping us in data protection and risk reduction. Here a simple example, a healthcare provider, which means there is a compliance PHI. So healthcare provider classifies the patient record as confidential PHI. If someone tries to share them externally through Teams or DLP, blocks the action. So what it is doing, it is doing data protection. Now it will give you the visibility into your data state. Who will give you data classification? How? Because it gives admins clear insight into what sensitive data exists and where it is stored. So, for example, an insurance company uses Content Explorer to see that 3,000 documents in OneDrive are labeled as confidential customer data. This visibility helps them to prepare for an audit. It will give the user awareness and accountability. Who will give data classification? Because it labels, the labels apply to data like internal use only. Remind employees of sensitivity labels, reducing human error. For example, a consulting firm applies internal only labels to protect to project documents. When an employee tries to attach it to an external email, a warning pop up. So what it is doing, it is giving the awareness. Warning pop-ups reminding them of the risk. Another benefit is improved incident response. How it is going to improve the incident response? Because this thing, DC, helps security teams quickly investigate how sensitive data is being accessed or misused. right? Priority will define. So a manufacturing company uses Activity Explorer to detect that employee downgraded labels on technical blueprints from highly confidential to public and exported them to USB. Quick action prevented IP theft, right? Now, business efficiency and trust. Automating classification reduce manual work and builds customer confidence how the data is handled. Everything is happening automated, either through pre-trained or your custom SITs. All right. Same goes with the pre-trained AI/ML or your custom module, all happening automatically. So a law firm trains a classifier for NDA. We have seen that example, right? Instead of paralegals manually tagging files, Purview auto tags them, saving hours and assuring clients that contracts are always protected. Now, finally, is foundation of our advanced governance. If you remember, Microsoft Purview helps in data governance, data security, and data risk and compliance. So, governance is always come here. Here is also helping in governance on the compliance and base. So, once data is classified, it becomes easier to apply retention, archiving, monitoring, and governance rules. For example, a university classifies student record as confidential PI data, personal data. So retention policy are applied. So records are stored for 7 years automatically. If the data is pi, it will be stored for 7 years and then detect and like deleted automatically after 7 years. So with this, I think we are good to go. We have completed all those things that we're supposed to. So in just to summarize in easy word, SITs is pattern finders like spotting credit card numbers. EDM is exact match with known values like customer IDs in your database, exact value. Trainable classifiers is AI that learns your business document like the contracts or your invoices. Labels is tags applied to control access like confidential, only HR like this. And explorers are the tools for like a dashboard to see where sensitive data is and what people are doing with it with the help of Activity Explorer. So together these tools ensure data is classified correctly, labeled for protection and monitored for compliance. So this is all about this video. Well, thank you for watching and you guys have a wonderful day.